Welcome back, everyone. We are here again, our Be Strong show. I'm your host, Michelle Shirley, CEO and Chief Heart Officer for Be Strong International. And if you don't know about Be Strong, I always say this: where have you been? It is important that you visit us. Our website is bestrongintl.org. We have been around for 30 years doing incredible work in South Miami and Miami-Dade, and even Broward County. We are teaching young people, parents, married couples, and community stakeholders all about how to have healthy, thriving relationships. And so we want you to be a part of what we're doing. We are having an amazing time this year, again, as we celebrate 30 years of service in the community. I do want to give an amazing shout out to community newspapers. If it was not for them, we would not be here having our amazing studio and access to so many wonderful things to tell you about all the amazing things that are happening in our communities. So shout out to them. So today, we have a special guest. Actually, I would say my neighbor, right? And we'll find out how that came about. Mayor Karyn Cunningham of Palmetto Bay. Welcome,
Thank you
Karyn.
so much. I'm so honored to be here.
Y-
And I've never been in this studio before, so pretty cool.
Yes, yes. So I want you to share with the viewers a little bit about how did you get into politics? How did you become the mayor? What was your professional career kind of like?
Sure. Well, first, let me just say thank you to you and to Be Strong. As you mentioned, we are neighbors. You are literally right next door to Village Hall,
Exactly.
and I'm so proud of the partnership that we've established because we are stronger connected for sure.
Yes.
So I appreciate everything you're doing in the community.
Thank you.
It's really great.
Thank you.
So I think my story is really just an average story. It's funny when you say that. I don't know. There's really my background has been in public service. I was a first grade teacher
Mm.
with Miami-Dade County Public Schools for 36 years.
Wow.
I transitioned after 18 years in the classroom working with United Teachers of Dade, more advocacy for public
That's good.
education.
Yeah.
And then in 2012, I decided that I wanted to get to know a little bit more about our young community. We
Mhm.
were incorporated in 2002.
Nice.
Let me check that out and see. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
2004.
Mhm.
Let me check that out and see what's going on at Village Hall. And I feel like it was just an extension of my previous service. I ran in 2012, and I love to tell young people, I was out doing door to door, getting my message out. Was at on election day, talking with folks, and what do you think happened? And they always say, "You won."
Right.
And the answer is no, I didn't win. I lost. There were three individuals that
Mhm.
were in that race, but
Mhm.
again, I think it made me stronger because I started talking with people and saying, like, how can I be more connected with the village? I had been doing a lot of work in the greater community, but how can I be more connected with the village? And that's exactly what I did.
Wow.
So
That's amazing to see your journey through that. It's pretty cool. So I guess I want to ask you, since you eventually became mayor,
I
right?
did,
Talk
I
about
did.
that a
So
little
I
bit.
served
Yeah.
as councilwoman from 2014 to 2018. In about 2017, I said, I'm going to give it a shot and run for mayor, and won in
Nice.
2018. Yeah, and well, the rest, I guess, is somewhat history.
You're
We've
right.
had a very, very interesting 4 years,
Right.
especially with
Especially with COVID.
COVID
Yeah.
injected into the middle of that.
Mhm.
So it's been
Mhm.
an interesting journey.
So tell our viewers a little bit about how you have implemented certain things within the village. Like, what have you done? What are some of your accomplishments?
Sure. So my focus for the last many years has been on the priorities of the community and the things that people talk about, and actually have taken surveys to say these are our priorities. It's
Mm,
public safety, our parks, and public services.
mm.
So we've dedicated a lot of our resources to that. I don't know, most people don't realize that police services are 53% of our budget. We live in
Wow.
an extremely safe community.
Right.
I know there's a lot of chit chat,
Right.
where you've got, an incident here, an
Yeah.
incident there. But when you're in a community where there's such low crime,
Right.
one incident can change
Yeah.
stats pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Mhm.
Our parks, bringing more activities and events to our community. We're a family-oriented community, right? So we have a lot of families living in the community. And then partnerships with schools and great organizations
Yeah.
like yours, too, I think really connect us as well. Many people move to the village of Palmetto Bay based on the schools.
The
We have
schools.
15 places of education in the village.
Yes.
Most people are surprised when they hear that. They go, where are they? Well, they range from preschool all the way to high school. And then our public services, and that includes everything from, drain cleaning, tree trimming, street paving, sidewalk making, those good things that people value in the community.
No, that's great. Well, kudos to you on everything that you have accomplished thus far. And I know that it's important as we are advocates for our community members and stakeholders that we listen to them. So I like the fact that you were giving these surveys and that you were listening to what the community was saying. I want to ask you though, from your transition from kind of like the teacher to the advocacy and then councilwoman and then mayor, right? You've increased in this level of responsibility. And so how have you been able to manage your personal life with being, seen everywhere and having to do all these things?
Well, it's a good question. So, my daughter's grown. Shout out to my daughter and her husband, Megan and Rusty. They live in Boston.
Okay.
So that helps.
Mhm.
But I think also, when you're so involved in a community, and I like to say live, work, learn, play, pray, right?
Yeah,
Everything, all of
so
those things
good.
happening in the community. I think that's makes it easy for me because obviously I live
Mhm.
in the community. Even though I work outside of the village of Palmetto Bay, I do a lot of work within the village, and a lot of my personal friendships, acquaintances, the connections that I've made over the course of the last 12 years
Mhm.
have been community based, Village of
Right.
Palmetto Bay community based.
Yeah.
So I think that makes it easy.
Easy.
I do
Yeah.
a lot of socializing with friends and neighbors
I
that
see
live
you
in the
everywhere. I
community.
see you everywhere.
Yeah, it makes it easy.
Yeah.
Listen, we live in a community, or I live in a community that is so kind and compassionate, caring, loving, and they're just a joy actually to
Yeah.
be with. So
Yeah.
it makes it easy to develop those friendships and kind of have that work life balance, if you will.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it is a great place to
It is,
be.
yeah, it
When
is.
we moved there, we were just like, "Oh my gosh, it seemed like greener pastures and everything was just really really nice." And we're building too. I noticed that things are
I see that.
happening. Yeah, things are happening there. I do want to say for the women, especially younger women who might be watching you and now hearing your story, in what would you share with them as far as encouraging them to throw their hat into politics, right? Because I think with so many things that have happened in the last 2 years, I feel like there's an awakening among people to say, I want to do something. This has to stop. Whatever that issue is that they feel strongly about. And so what would you say to a young woman who might be interested in running for
I
office?
think you actually just nailed it yourself. It's,
Yeah.
whatever your passion is, find your passion. Your passion could be um, the parks, let's say. You
Mhm.
love our parks, or the environment, which is something that many people in our community are very, very passionate about, as is our village council.
Yeah.
Find whatever your passion is and just take it to the next level. No different than what you've done or what I've
Right.
done. I
Yeah.
started out as a teacher. I mean, where else in this great country can you be a first grade teacher caring for 6-year-olds and
Right.
later become the mayor of a
Mm.
mid-size village? And really, I think it's just about the passion. I have part of my priorities really have been the youth in our community. We have a
Mhm.
very active youth community engagement board. It's not even
Nice.
called a youth advisory board.
Right,
They
right.
they are very involved.
Engaged.
We have young people in our community, and I've really connected with our schools, public and private. We host an annual kids town hall. So for me, I don't necessarily know, and I appreciate the fact you're saying role model. I guess we all are role models in some way,
Mhm.
but just encouraging. I have a program that I have young people, young women, and young men. They can come be mayor for the day. And
What?
it's exciting. And I tell them exactly that. What is your passion? What would you like to see change in our community? Because I
Wow.
think at the end of the day, the reason why we all serve, whether it's as CEO of Beautiful Be Strong, or
Mhm.
as mayor, or in whatever capacity, even as first grade teacher, right? Whatever
Yeah.
capacity you're serving, is because you have some passion about something.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty cool. Now, really quick, is there an age limit for the being mayor for a day? Because I would love to
mm,
follow you on that. I'm
yeah,
like, I might
let's do
email
it.
you after this to
Let's do
kind
it.
of see
Oh,
what
oh,
that looks
okay.
like.
Well,
That's pretty
you would
cool.
are if you're talking about you, you would definitely be our first adult mayor for the day.
Yes,
So
score.
let's do it. We just had a very successful citizens advisory. I'm so sorry, Citizens Academy, for the first Mayor's Citizens Academy. They graduated last night.
Oh,
And, as I mentioned, I think prior to starting, I saw a mayor in that group. A future mayor is in that group. There's definitely a
wow.
future council member in that group. And many of
Wow.
them have already started to join the village and be active by
That's so
serving on
cool.
committees. They've thrown
That's
their
so
name in the
cool.
hat to serve on committees and boards. But I say let's do it, because I think
Listen.
you could be the change we're looking for.
Ah, I'm like, what? Is that just for kids? I want to do that. So we'll talk after.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, as part of being on our Be Strong show, we have a game that we like to play so that people can kind of get to know you more. And the game is called Social Yaks. I have it here. And basically, this game really allows people to come together in a really fun way to get to know each other better. Um, it started because there were a lot of things happening in 2020 where we were just at just a disarray of things, and we felt like people just weren't connected anymore. And even though we were on Zoom and we were trying to find ways to connect, there's nothing like being with someone. There's nothing like having lunch with someone. There's nothing like being able to see the person's body language and being able to react and wiping someone's tears. And so we created this game and we really like it because it brings out so much fun and emotion, and people really do connect through this game. I'll never forget that we did this game at a leadership program where we were bringing in smaller nonprofits, and we were talking to them about, how do we engage the community if we're not engaged and
Sure.
connected with one another? All
Absolutely.
of us are operating in different ways. We're operating in silos, and if we're going out to the community and we're saying that we want to be stronger together, how is it that we are not connected? How is it that we don't know each other's stories? And many of these people are leaders and they have amazing stories of why they created their nonprofit. Just like what you said, they're passionate about some cause, and yet we live in a community and we don't know each other. So we played that game, and I can tell you there were tears in the room. So much happened, and said
Gosh,
we
I hope I'm
I
not gonna cry.
know.
I hope I'm not gonna
I
cry.
don't know
I'm a little
if you saw
sentimental
the
like
last
that.
show.
So last night I said I was Teflon, but I don't know. This sounds scary. I'm actually so super impressed. I looked at it before the show started and I was like, wait, this is Be Strong's
Yes.
game. I think that's very, very cool. And
Yes.
I will say, really good point. A real quick story, if I
Yeah, yeah,
can.
yeah.
During the pandemic, immediately, when we could kind of come together, we brought our youth community engagement board. I don't remember, it must have been in 2021, together for, awards. Kids were graduating. There was really that
Yeah.
missing piece. And so we did it over at the Lotta Estate.
Mhm.
And the kids came in. I walked into the room. Nobody was talking to each other. Everybody was staring at their telephone. And so I said, wait, we're just going to
Stop.
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 Let's
Yeah.
put the chairs in a circle and let's talk to somebody that we don't know,
Mm.
because there was really that huge disconnect. So what a great way.
Yes,
I'm a little
yes.
nervous because
I don't want you to be
I'm
nervous.
not super competitive with, but this doesn't sound like a competitive.
No, it's not. It's not. It's really just the viewers getting to know you through the game. So we're going to start with our first card level, and it's called Breaking the Ice.
Okay.
And so I want you to pick the card that we've selected for you, and then think about the question.
Oh, this one's super easy. So the question is, what's something you would never buy?
Right.
And I would say a lottery ticket.
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't. I think a lot of life is about hard work.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wouldn't buy it.
No luck.
I don't take,
No.
no, I don't take things. I don't take things by chance. I really put a lot of time and thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have never bought a lottery ticket.
300. Okay, wait. So
Maybe
you're
I'm
driving
missing out. I don't know.
Wait. I gotta paint the scenario. So you're driving on the highway.
Yep.
And you see
The big
300 billion. Right? And
Yeah.
the ticket is $2.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it.
No, wouldn't take that chance. Sorry.
What?
Never bought a lottery ticket. Don't think I ever will.
That is
Might make me reconsider. I don't know. Now I'm, but yes, I do drive by the boards every day on the way to work. So
yeah, they make it impossible.
No, but I've never bought a lottery ticket.
Wow.
I don't think I would ever buy a lottery ticket.
Interesting, Karyn.
Yeah, sorry,
no.
Sorry.
Not today. Okay, cool. All right. So we want you to probably pick one more of the break the ice. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kids today will never understand the struggle of, this is tough because I think kids really do struggle a lot today. And I think social media has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
But, and there's challenges for children, I think today that
absolutely.
I won't tell you how old I am, but actually this will date me because kids will never understand the struggle of searching for a dime to put in a payphone to make a call home.
Whoa.
So
throwback.
It is.
Whoa.
I really dated myself. You're probably like, I never had to look for a dime either.
Well, no. Actually,
look for maybe a quarter.
I had to look for a quarter. So I'm with you, right? I'm with you. So we had to. I'm like, are there payphones anywhere?
I don't think so. There might be somewhere in an antique store.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
I never thought about even looking for one because now you.
And they have so many other struggles these days that I think if they can't find a dime for or payphone.
Yeah. But you know what's interesting that makes me think about the fact that if you, let's say you're somewhere and your phone dies, to ask another stranger to borrow their phone is now weird. Because they don't look like a phone is like an expensive gadget, right? Right.
Actually,
it's like
that's a really, really good point. My sister and family, my daughter, my son-in-law, my nephew, and my sister just climbed Mount Whitney in California. Wow. My sister, I love you, Catherine. she couldn't make it. She's a little older than I, so she had to come down. And she wasn't able to call, even though she saw other people. Her phone got wet and she couldn't use it, but she wasn't able to call until she got back to the hotel. And, you don't want to criticize after someone's been through a really tough period, like climbing a mountain.
Right.
But I was like, what happened? Why didn't you just ask someone else? And she said, I didn't think of it. I didn't think of it.
Yeah, so, it's weird. It's a weird dynamic that we've fallen into with that. Because if you ask someone to borrow your phone, and it's an expensive cell, you know what I mean? Like cell phones now today are like $1,000+.
Right.
They might run off with it. Like, you don't know,
No, that's true.
That's weird.
True.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move into our Get Social.
Okay.
And so this card, as we go through the different levels, we get a little deeper, but I don't think you're going to cry. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm afraid of the purple one over there. I'm going to go right here.
Yes.
All right. What is the craziest event you have ever witnessed? This is tough. I don't know because I've witnessed a lot.
Give us a good story. Give us a good
story. This is going to be tough for me. Well, do I have to have personally witnessed it?
Go for it. Just go for it. Whatever you feel.
It's probably my most recent, and I actually said it on another community news, so people may be bored with the story, but I last on September 10th, I just mentioned my family went to California for this challenge of climbing Mount Whitney, and my daughter, her husband, and my nephew got stuck at the top of Mount Whitney, and there was cell phone reception. So, who are you going to call?
Okay, wait, pause. So tell me about how do you get stuck?
Well, the weather changed. They're at 15,000 feet. The weather changes. Out of 100 people that were permitted for the day, only 10 made it to the top, and they were the last 3. And so they call me, and I'm honored that they called me 3,000 miles away,
exactly. Right?
At a completely different height level, right? just as I'm preparing for the celebration for the Village of Palmetto Bay's 20th anniversary.
And they
And
say,
they say,
I'm stuck.
yeah, hey, we made it to the top. The weather's changed. We're stuck. Can you help us?
I mean, I don't want to. I
Yes.
mean, like,
Well, that's why
please don't think that we're laughing at you.
yeah, I don't
It's
know if
just,
she'll
it's the
watch,
way
but
she's doing, like, putting it together. It's just
well,
like,
it's God's honest truth. So her husband is on the phone with me, and I said, "Is everyone okay? Are you hurt?" They said, we've called search and rescue."
oh
So
wow.
that brings it to another
Of
level
course,
for a
yeah,
mom,
for
and you know
sure. Of
yourself as a
course,
mom.
yeah, yeah,
I think one of the biggest lessons for me that I learned from that is it doesn't matter if you're 30, if they're 32. Probably, if I'm lucky enough to be around when they're 52,
right.
you're going to worry.
Always
And
be, yeah.
so when I think about this is an event that I was connected to in person, but it was probably one of the craziest,
Mm,
scariest
moments.
moments as a parent for me.
Yeah,
And the fact that I'm still harping on it 2 weeks later it shows really the
yeah,
impact I
yeah,
think about it. And it's given me really just a different perspective on a lot of things, right? The
yeah.
things that are important, right? Faith, family,
Mm,
community, friends. I mean, the things that really draw people together. So I'm
so
sure there's
true.
plenty of crazy events that I've actually witnessed. One does not come to mind at the moment, but that's the
That
one that
one,
made my heart stop.
yeah,
Good news,
wow.
obviously, I'm
They,
sitting here today. They're
yeah,
fine.
right.
Bumps and bruises only.
Yeah, how long did it take for search rescue to come?
Well, they were told that they needed to. They were the sheriff's office was able to ping them to talk to them because after I got off the phone with them, I couldn't get back in touch. That's why
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
9 hours of
yeah.
agony, but was able to ping them and I guess get a message to them to tell them start making your way down.
Okay.
Regardless, we know it's scary, but it's otherwise you're going to be
Try.
up there for 2 days. So
Mm,
so they did make it
wow.
down all in
Wow.
one piece.
Wow.
Thank goodness. So
Thank goodness. Okay. Woo. All right. That was intense. All right. So our
I'll think of a
next
funny one for
one,
next time. Sorry.
it's fine. It's fine. Our next one is our gopher. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper.
Okay.
Right. So here's it. Here, the green one.
All right, and it's a gopher. What's the best advice you have ever received, and did you follow it? And the answer to this is super easy for me because there's two things I've learned. One was from my mom, and one was from a very close friend. I'm sure I've learned many things in the course of time, but I say these as a part of a mantra every
Mm,
single day. The first is from my mom. She was filled with many, many pearls of wisdom, but she would tell me, even as a young person, that you cannot control other people's actions, only your reaction. And I think that that has, for me, in a lot of ways, served me very well.
mm.
I, especially in this political realm,
Yeah,
I
sure.
cannot control what people are saying on Facebook.
Yeah.
I cannot control political mailers, but I can control my response and my reaction. So,
Mm,
yes, to that, I follow that every single day.
that's
I think
awesome.
it kind of brings me some peace too,
Mm-hmm.
in life, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe even for young people. Uh, a good it's probably one of the best messages. You're only in control of you and your responses and your reactions to things. So,
Yeah.
and your actions, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the second is a more recent pearl that I've received over the last maybe 5 or 6 years, and that's don't let the water in.
Don't let the
Your
water
ship
in.
can't sink if you keep the water out, right?
Mm,
So periodically, there's some holes that need to be plugged, because it's hard sometimes
yeah.
to kind of keep all the water out. And really, I think just for young people, people in general, especially the young people that you're working
Yeah.
with and trying to, eh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, give a very special message to, uh, you know, we can't. There's a lot of things going on in the world, and I'll go back again to social media because in many ways, while I think it's a blessing in some ways, to be able
Yeah.
to, as I mentioned, watch your last show and say, "Wow, that was so good. I really
Yeah.
loved it." Staying connection with family
Mm-hmm.
members
Mm-hmm.
because we're
Right.
always talking about the importance of being connected, and sometimes we just can't right now
Right.
be physically present for
Right.
people. So being able to connect and see all the joy and
Right.
happiness. There's also folks that aren't as happy
Yeah.
and share some of that. And I think we need to be tuned into that to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
especially if we have friends that we see might be slipping and
Struggling.
sliding and
Yeah.
struggling, and how can we reach out to them? But also, just the more negative approach that some people take to
To
social
things.
media
Yeah.
and life in general.
Yeah.
Um, so those are my two pieces of wisdom. And
Yeah.
really, I'm a large part super happy person.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
notice,
yeah.
yes, and I love that about you. You
Thank you.
just
Same
you
for you.
operate in
Yeah,
that peace,
yeah.
and at the end of the day, what does anxiety do? Right? It causes us to lose more hair. It causes us to be sick, even in our bodies.
Sure,
Our organs feel it. We can have health issues because of it. At the end, it doesn't play out well.
sure.
So it's better to find that place where we can find that peace and just recognize that no matter what you do, sometimes people are just not going to be satisfied, and
Absolutely,
that's okay.
absolutely.
And I always pray for an opportunity for people to get to know me, like, man, one day, you know what, that person doesn't like me or that person said this, but I hope one day I can meet them and they can get to know me, and maybe things will
Actually, that's
change.
a great
Yeah.
way
And
of
it's staying open,
sure, sure.
not just saying like, forget you,
Well, you're
right?
helping me do that today as well. So
One day you'll get to know me and then you'll see I'm really cool.
exactly.
So, okay, that's awesome. Yeah, and that
No
advice is
tears
great.
yet.
Yeah, no, I'm thankful. We do have 144 cards, so you would
Uh-oh.
eventually cry at some
You only
point.
have 4
But we
minutes
only
left,
have
so
right, exactly, right. So we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. But just so the audience knows, we do have a lot of cards. So this last one is the owl, and it's called Use Wisdom. And I'm gonna help you get that. Don't look at it yet. Don't look at it
Oh,
yet.
I'm sorry.
But the purpose of this game is once we play through the different stages and we discover who you are, and we're all vulnerable at the table and we're sharing and just having a
Absolutely.
good time. The last stage is where we pour wisdom into someone else. And I think we live in a world where we don't do that often enough.
Mhm.
It's all about me, and I want to win or I want to get to the next level. So this game really allows an opportunity for players to then share and impart some wisdom into someone else. So you're going to read the card,
Okay.
and then I'm going to come up with my best wise answer for the mayor of Palmetto Bay.
Okay, so you get to respond to this
Yes,
one.
yes.
All right, good.
So go
All
for
right,
it.
you ready? It says,
Mhm.
"In my social circle, what do you think I am most known for?"
I think and then hopefully all your friends in your social circle don't email me, right? But I think you are most known for exactly what you do right now, advocating for others, wanting to hear people's voice and finding a way on how you can act on what their needs are. And I think that's what makes you amazing. And I think anyone who is around you will see very quickly, even if you disagree, this is why, or let's figure out a way. You say that often. I figure out a way. I think you're figuring out a way to make things work. That's how you do your thing.
Okay,
So,
I'm almost crying.
Does
That
it?
was really,
Yeah.
really awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's my strength, but I think given my background as teacher and advocate,
Mhm.
you are always trying to build consensus. That is one of the things that I have tried to do over the course of my 4 years is to
Yeah.
build consensus, bring people to the table, and go where people are because people aren't always going to come to you directly.
Yeah.
You have to be present
Mhm.
where they are, whether it's
Yeah.
at their doorstep, at the local coffee shop, wherever they are in the neighborhood.
Yeah. I love it. All right, my dear.
Thank you
That
so
is
much. Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah. So high five. We did it. We did the
All
social
right.
yaks. Woo. All right. So before we close out, I want you to talk a little bit about what's happening now in Palmetto Bay. Maybe say where people can go to visit if they can learn more about
Sure.
upcoming events or anything like that. Feel free to use this time to share with the
Sure.
audience.
Awesome. So we've got a couple of great things coming up in the very near future. One is our Parks Master Plan workshop. That's going to be at September 30th. It's going to be at Palmer Trinity. Again, as I mentioned, going to where people are. It's going to be a fun event. And hopefully, it will be a large and well attended event. We're going to have some beverages there
Okay.
and
Nice.
some snacks for folks. Come out and tell us what you think about the parks, what we could be doing better over the next 10 years. Help us vision for our parks. And then right before that, on September 28th, we are going to have our final budget workshop.
Okay.
Also extremely important for folks to have their voices heard. As I said, we've done that through community surveying and many multiple meetings. I'm open to hearing whatever anybody has to say
Nice.
or thinks about our upcoming budget. I can be reached at 305-799-0695, or you can visit the village website at palmettobay-fl.gov. Everyone's contact information is there.
Awesome. Well, this concludes our show. Feel free to visit bestrongintl.org. We hope that you stay tuned. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Again, Be Strong INTL. And don't forget to pick up your game of Social Yaks today. Talk to you soon.